Hi, this is Zach May with the weekend edition of the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe. It is Sunday, the 18th of January. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which has managed to get through the top of that channel there from February last year, 101.80, and above that on an end-of-day close basis. Then with 10,500 at the top of that red rising trend channel from October by the end of next month. The rally started with that triple RSI 50 rebound, which was noted at the time, and then obviously various RSI 50 plus rebounds that we've had since then. But the most significant were those that triple bounce that we had, a bit like the September one that we had before the October rally. Moving on to the DAX, and here we are hoping and praying that we can get a bit higher up towards the top of that rising trend channel from April, the top of the channel, 25,800, let's call it. We're looking for that by the end of next month while we stay above the old October resistance, 24,700 on an end-of-day close basis. I suppose it's even Stevens in terms of whether we can stay above that old resistance and head up to 25,800. Best case here up to the upper parallel of that rising trend channel at 27,000 by the end of next month. But at the moment, it looks like it's a long way away, but who knows? On the downside, I suppose we do have the 50-day line there at 24,100, but a bit like the upside, that does actually seem quite a long way away. It looks like a slower market and not so volatile. The Dow is next, and here you can see that we're in what I'm thinking is an extended bull flag between 48,800 and just shy of 50,000. Looking for a breakout here while the RSI remains above neutral 50. It's 60 at the moment. Breakout through 50,000 could give us that late November resistance line projection as high as 52,000 by the end of next month. I suppose we are banking on the channel being like that and staying within that channel, so that would be around the 48,600 as a floor for this market. Rug pull would be down to the 50-day line just below 48,000 if there was an unexpected disaster for the Dow. Moving on to the cryptos, and here are some of the treasury companies looking a bit better, but the situation here at Bitcoin, a bit sort of flat in the sense that we've managed to get through the old resistance around 95,000. That's become the support area. We had an RSI 50 rebound, which gave us that rally, roughly $5,000, which is obviously very nice. Breakthrough recent resistance around 98 should give us 106 at the 200-day line, hopefully by the end of next month. Any rug pulls, not expecting them to be any worse than the 50-day line there at 90,200. Ethereum is next, and here decent setup in terms of the rising 50-day line, double RSI 50 rebound, but we have stalled at old resistance around the 3,200 level, but at least while we're above that, looking for the October resistance line and the rising 200-day moving average at 36.58, and looking for that by the end of next month, giving it a bit more time probably than we need, but obviously this market's still in a little bit of a touch and go type of mode. Gold is next, and here obviously everyone and their mother talking about how wonderful this is. We've had a break of recent resistance through 4,500. There's more resistance that was broken 4,550, and above that, especially above that, looking for the top of the channel there, 4,800 by the end of next month. Worst case on the downside is the floor of that channel, the black line there, around 4,400, and that may be an area to put a limit order in if you want to try and catch this market by the tail. Moving on to the stocks, and starting with Ajax, which has been a great success story so far this month, this year, 42% up already after the 125 we saw last year. So great performance here, especially given that we're on Aquis. Bounced off the old target there around 8.75 pence. Above that, we're looking for a best case scenario target as high as 14 pence. Basically, I think I said before, an end of day close through 10. We closed on 10 on Thursday. End of day close above 10 should be enough to take us up to 14 pence by the end of next month, or possibly even more than that. But the key here is that there's no end of day close back below the old target there at 8.75. On to Bradda Head, where I was charting it kicking and screaming, but I did discover the bear trap rebound in the below a penny, and above that looking for the top of the falling trend channel there at 1.5 pence. Now we're just simply looking for 2.25 by the end of next month, while we remain above a penny and a half, the old target. Not many people look at Celsius, but we do here. Here we've had a gap through the old target there. That was around 0.7. Above that, we've been looking for 1.05, looking for that by the end of this month, especially while we're on the right side of 0.8, which has been a recent trading area. 50 and 200-day lines both rising, so it looks as though we're in a comfortable place at the moment. A stock which I suppose should be rising like a homesick angel at the moment is critical metals, given that that's what the hottest area of the market is, or one of the hottest areas of the markets are. You can see that the rising trend channel there went up to 16 pence. That was our first target. Second target, 25 pence. And we're looking for that by the end of next month or even sooner. So hopefully CRTM will come up with the goods. Managed to miss Cornish metals, but I do know that there's somebody who is looking at this all the time. In fact, if I get the right Epic code, it'll look even better than that chart. Here you can see that the shares have been rising very well, especially since the beginning of the month. It looks as though we're in a rising trend channel there from the end of the month, which has its resistance line projection heading for as high as £1.60. That's our target for the end of next month, especially while we remain above Thursday support around the £1.16 level. So end of day close below that would slow this situation down, but as you can see, most of the candles there are very, very strong indeed. Opening at the low, closing at the high. It could even be the equivalent of a Greatland Gold in terms of the upside that we see there. A stock which I haven't been looking at as much as I should have, but looks as though it is on its way, which is DeFi development. DeFi, obviously a very hot term about a couple of years ago. Here you can see that we've got a what I call a sideways shuffle above our rising 50-day line. Looking for a big move here. The minimum here, the top of the rising trend channel base at £1.23 by the end of next month. Maximum up to the 200-day moving average at 164. Not sure what will do it, but it does look like a great setup, and we're going with that. I suppose we did actually have an RSI 50 rebound at the beginning of the month, and we blew through the 50-day line as if it wasn't there just a week or so ago. Stock which has obeyed my wishes and commands has been Delta Gold. Obviously, everyone and their mother claiming credit for it, but was spot on there with the break of that resistance line there at 14.5 pence. At that time, we were looking for the shares to go to 26 pence, which they nearly did on Friday. End of day close above 26, and we're looking for 37 pence, which is the upper parallel of that rising trend channel from the beginning of last month. So we're very pleased with that. Hopefully we'll be just as pleased with EQTEC, where James Parsons seems to have taken the lead and taken the company by the bull by the horns on this company. Here you can see that we've had an unfilled gap to the upside during the week, and we held above that gap. Bear trap gap reversal is normally a strong thing. All we're waiting for now is an end of day close for the RSI through the neutral 50 level, and also for the shares through the 50-day moving average at 0.11. That's the initial target. We can break through that. We might get a retest of last month's resistance at 0.19 if we all behave ourselves. But the key here is to see no fresh price action back below 006 on that one. Haven't looked at Ferro-Alloy for a long time, and here you can see that it looks as though after a bit of a blink and you missed it rally in October, which wasn't very nice. You can see that we're probably in a rising trend channel as I'm adjusting at the moment above the 200-day line at 7.5 pence, looking for the top of the channel there up to 17 pence by the end of next month. The reason for the relative confidence here is that we've had an RSI 50 rebound, and we've also broken through the 200-day line as if it wasn't there, which is normally a good thing. But that RSI 50 rebound hopefully will be enough to mean that it's third time lucky for a break of 9 pence, and we head to 17 pence relatively easily. Moving along to Kodal, and here you can see that managed to hit our after the break of that resistance line there at 0.34, we managed to hit a rather ambitious target there at 0.46 above that. Looking for a July resistance line projection as high as 0.57 by the end of this month or even sooner. It looks as though that situation really on its way, and we've also celebrated with the golden cross that we had back on the end of the week. So basically the 50 and 200-day lines crossing on Friday when they were both rising. So that is a plus. Mkango is next, and much talked about. What you can say here is that we have broken the last of any potential resistance line there at 53. Above that, looking for up to 86 pence or 85 pence by the end of next month. The reason for that relative optimism is the way that the shares have regrouped after the I think it was a cooling RNS that the company had the other month. That was in October, and then after that they had the Malawi executive order, all the sort of stuff you see in perhaps not so developed countries, but wonderful recovery there. And as I said, above that broken resistance line there, 53, looking for 80 pence plus, and a revisit of October's highs. Moving along to the situation at Oracle Power, and here the shares rising on no news. Managed to hit our target there at 0.083, or at least our target line. In fact, even went a bit above that. Current situations, we're trying to work out where any retracement might come in or might go down to. There's obviously always a risk of a fundraise from this company, but ideally, I suppose the best thing is that the shares will stay on the right side of 0.06, fundraise or no fundraise, and then maybe head up to and retest 0.1 pence by the end of this month. Moving on to Smarter Web, which apparently is heading for the wide open spaces of the main market. Here you can see that looks as though there's been some short covering. Must have been rather disappointing for the bears that the company is still there, still in business, and looks as though above that, for the top of that falling trend channel there at 53 pence, which was our previous target there when we broke the 50-day line, looking for 80 pence. Perhaps as soon as the end of next month. So maybe more of a short squeeze on that situation. Moving on to tertiary minerals, and here we've hit our first target there, 0.08. Above that, looking for modest further upside, which would be 0.11, hopefully in coming days. But it looks as though there is quite a full-blooded recovery here for the situation, especially after that sideways shuffle above the rising 50-day line. The key here is we stay above 0.08, as I said. Moving on to the last stock, which always gets regular beatings from the psychotic shorting squad. Here you can see that Wellnex produced a decent, well, you can see from the news, if I actually put it on there, decent, clear turnaround trajectory there, decent turnaround RNS. What's good here, though, forgetting the RNS, is the way that we had lower lows for December, January, but the RSI didn't go any lower. Then, in fact, even when the share price was flat, the RSI started heading higher. So that was potentially an accumulation there around the 6 pence level, and initial target here up to 12 pence at the top of that falling trend channel, maybe up to 14 if we behave ourselves by the end of this month and can get through that 50-day line properly. The key here probably is staying above the right, well, at least on the right side of 7 pence, which was resistance on the way down. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.